Want to hear a joke? I've said this in videos with Jake before, and I'm going to say it to you right now. Would you like to hear a joke?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, sure, go for it.
AEW has a women's division.
Just like WWE has a tag division.
Oh, I won't deny that. WWE needs to fix their tag shit. Every single time. Every single time I've made that dig,
Or WWE has a women's tag division.
They could. They just need to slightly move those belts to a different
more
show.
than what, 4 teams?
Oh, I don't know. Bliss and Cross, Trash and Bailey. Apparently right now, Nia Jackson, Shayna Baszler, which is weird. They did have the Iconics, which they don't anymore. They've got the Riot Squad down in NXT. They've got Catanzaro and Carter. They've got Aaliyah and Mercedes Martinez. They've got Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. They have had, in the past, Mia Yim and Shotzi Blackheart.
Okay. So
they have had Shotzi Blackheart and Rhea
women's
Ripley.
tag teams that have had the titles.
Hey, man, long-term title reigns, except for when it's Trasha and Bailey, add prestige to the championships. Anyways, no, I will say there are women. This is where I've tried to go semi-constructively with my really, really shitty joke, because I will say that AEW owns tag team wrestling the same way right now NXT and a little bit of WWE own women's wrestling.
I agree.
Mostly NXT.
Definitely NXT.
The downside, there's been some good shit on the main roster too, just not as good as the Black and Gold brand.
The good shit is better.
The good shit. The good shit
NXT,
is better.
But you know,
no, you got to do the Triple H voice. It's the good shit. Anyways,
all right, go on.
We had an Iron Man match with no winner, and everybody else got real mad.
Well,
anyways, but no,
that's just shitty booking.
Before Dynamite came around and AEW was just a glint in four guys' eyes, everybody was saying, "Oh, save Luke Harper, save Dean Ambrose, save Revival, save this person, save that, save Jericho," because Jericho hasn't had enough of a career already. He didn't need saving. But there's all that like, oh, AEW is going to save everybody, right?
Right.
I would say the exact same thing for NXT, to pick and choose anybody they want from AEW's women's division, because NXT, specifically for the women, knows how to give them a platform. I would love to see Britt Baker in NXT. I would love to see Big Swole in NXT. I would love to see Hikaru Shida in NXT. I would love to keep Nyla Rose as far away from NXT as physically possible. But just about even like some of the weirder ones like Abaddon, definitely Chris Statlander is somebody I like.
Yeah.
And if those start, like they're peeking through on a show that really hasn't given them much time, if we're realistic, I would love to see them given an NXT kind of platform the same way AEW fans wanted some of those guys that I just mentioned to get a platform.
So, I agree. NXT definitely has a better women's division. AEW definitely has the best tag team division right now. However, we knew going into AEW, the tag team division was going to get the main focus more than anything else.
Of course.
However,
and I wouldn't mind somebody saying, hey, send Breezango to AEW, send Imperium to don't send Undisputed Era because I want to keep them. Imagine I've even said imagine the Usos in AEW.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they ended up in Impact, but Gallows and Anderson, if they had decided to go to AEW. Right? I know they're doing their own thing in Impact, and I know they've got a bunch of shows that they're running themselves. I haven't paid attention, if I'm honest.
Yeah, a couple different things. But, well, they did a whole thing. Oh, they talked about what happened with them in AEW that a few months ago before Black Wednesday and everything, before they re-signed with WWE, they were going to AEW. Like, they had contracts drawn up, everything, to where whenever their current contract was done, they were going to leave. However, WWE dropped a load of cash in front of them, and told them what time the bank truck was going to roll up to the house.
Yeah.
They made the financial decision of going to stay, and then WWE fucked them. But that's a whole other story.
And I mean, you know what? All power to WWE for having the money to do that, and all power to them for saying, like, look, you know what? We could probably do something better over here, but this is a lot of money. This will do whatever for our families or whatever. Who is it? Gallows or Anderson that always is on social media talking about his hot Asian wife?
That would be the Machine Gun Carl Anderson.
I mean, I think I follow him on Instagram, and like all his profile is just like shots of his wife at the pool, and I'm like,
yeah,
all right, man, you do you. That's just fine.
Yeah. But no, yeah. So like I was trying to say, they built the company on tag team wrestling because that's what they want their focus to be. Two of their main owners are tag team wrestlers who are known for being tag team wrestlers.
Right. And they're amazing at it, right?
The women's division from the time AEW started to now has gotten tremendously better, and I honestly think with time it will become just as good. I'm not going to say better because NXT is amazing with their women's division, but I will say I do think I see that they're going to come neck and neck. Both divisions are going to be hot and just amazing to watch. Because with every week, you could see it with every week the talent getting over for the women's division in AEW. Britt Baker, Big Swole.
Make no mistake. My comments are about the company. My comments are not about the talent.
Yeah. I agree, and I 100% agree that they should be pushing the women much more on AEW.
And this is what I'm saying. Like to your point, the women that they do have, and it's a small handful at the moment. The fact that they've managed to get themselves over or get themselves fan interest in the such little time that they've been given is entirely a credit to that talent, and it's a credit to the company for bringing that much talent together. But they need to, like, it's awesome to have an entire awesome locker room of women, but you have to eventually let them out of the locker room and let them wrestle.
And I think that's going to come with time as AEW gets a couple more women wrestling mindset, like people in the back helping them get that stuff together, because that's something WWE has. They have people who are specifically writing and specifically figuring out, hey, this women's match is really selling, so we need to be pushing this, and this more.
I think the thing that specifically NXT has for them right now is that they've got layers. They've proven that they can do women's stories that are nowhere near the title.
Yeah.
Like right now you've got the Mercedes Martinez versus Rhea Ripley match next Tuesday. You've got basically, it's Robert Stone, realistically speaking, but Robert Stone and his rivalry with Shotzi Blackheart's Tank, which is a little bit of comedy, but it's another thing we do. And they have sort of slipped in and out of like makeshift tag teams, but like Rhea Ripley's also got one eye on Io Shirai, and Io Shirai just won the title off of Charlotte Flair. And like what we have with AEW right now is where WWE was, to be fair, not that long ago, where it's like you have one champion, whoever's challenging them last week, and maybe two other girls fighting over there somewhere because she was looking at my man, or something stupid like that. And let's be real, like, it was stupid like that. Like, they were either fighting over a dude or a friend or whatever, or they were fighting over a belt, and there was no, as long as that's all you're fighting over, you never have to build any character. But the characters in NXT are great, which is why they're able to have like their own little thing. I mean, Candice LeRae is often like the alternate universe right now. It's fine.
I mean, just for example, the match that we're gonna get to eventually, Britt Baker and Big Swole.
Yes.
They have built themselves into this match. They have built a story, everything, without a title to fight for.
And see, this is exactly my point. I would love, and you've sort of gotten me into my first point, which is awesome because I was rambling.
You're welcome. Trying to get back on track here.
With the AEW women's division, I think what's more frustrating than them not making any steps is them thinking they're taking a step and actually taking a step back. And I'm going to look at their last sort of effort, which was like, what was it, the women's wild card tag team thing that they did, right? And they came out and they said, oh, we're going to do this great new thing. It's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be tag teams. You're going to see a whole lot of faces you've never seen before, and all these women are going to get this amazing platform, ... on
YouTube.
On YouTube. ...
100% agree.
No, but like, first of all, ... on YouTube. Second of all, ... and most of them are going to job to the boss.
Yeah, well.
I said, and I mean this genuinely, because it becomes a perception point of view. I don't particularly mind Brandi Rhodes in the ring. I don't think she's great, but if she wants to wrestle, she can wrestle. I have no problem with that. But you know what? Triple H didn't put Stephanie McMahon in the Mae Young Classic.
No, but he definitely got her the women's title.
Totally different.
Just saying.
I think that was Vince, if we're honest, or if they're honest.
A little bit of everybody.
But I mean, we're gonna get next level Triple H and Stephanie with Johnny and Candice eventually. It's gonna be fine.
I mean,
but I mean, it's
there's a Flair who has 14 title reigns,
Charlotte Flair could also wrestle circles around Brandi Rhodes.
100% agree.
But no, getting back to my initial point, and it's weird because like, people, especially on Twitter, think I hate women's wrestling when I think I talk more about women's wrestling than anything else on this channel. Right. You're going to give them all this great platform and and you brought all this attention to it, and then you threw them on YouTube, like you say. Now, I understand that AEW spawned from Being the Elite, which was a social media phenomenon, which was a YouTube phenomenon. You cannot ignore the fact that when you're trying to sell a TV product, shoving something onto YouTube and almost making it YouTube specific is like coming up to a pay-per-view and shoving a women's title match. They didn't do that Saturday, but say Shida and Thunder Rosa was pushed to the kickoff.
No.
Exactly. But that's the same thing. Especially when you say it's going to be this big thing, it's going to be this amazing thing, we're going to give this amazing platform to women, we're just not going to make it part of the show.
I mean, we did get
you got the final.
SmackDown Women's title removed from the kickoff all the way to semi-main on Mania.
Exactly, and that's a move. That is the fans getting upset and using Twitter the way it should be used, and getting it farther up the card, and that's great.
Yeah.
What was it? The second Mae Young Classic that they actually had the finals during Evolution, which was their entirely female pay-per-view? You know what they didn't do? They didn't put Evolution on YouTube.
Correct.
And it's funny because until this week, until I got to see Thunder Rosa for the first time, which we are going to talk about in a minute, I was more interested in this match than the title match, because I like Shida, but they haven't really put her up against anybody that I give a shit about, and there has to be that other side of it. So this whole Baker Swole thing was awesome, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be cool. This will either go neck and neck with the title match, or it'll feed into a title match, or something. So whereas you took that entire tournament and bumped it onto YouTube, you took this match that's been building for like 4 months, like the entire duration of Baker's, quote unquote injury, and you bumped it.
Oh no, she definitely had an injury. She had to get her knee fixed because like her meniscus tore or something like that.
Right, but I've heard a couple of
ACL.
things. I've heard a couple of things online now where it's like, okay, it was because of that. And now it's like, how long has she been okay? And they've been keeping up the act, and nobody really has a definite answer. But regardless, without throwing a punch, without either of them ever getting in the ring, they've built up a more intriguing match than, I'm sorry, some of the other matches on this card. And Britt Baker is I think the best character. They're not the best wrestler, I will say that right away, but the best character that their women's division has. And she's coming back after being gone for how long from an injury, and you stick that on a pre-show. Like, that is such a misstep. It's ridiculous. I do think it's going to be good, though. And Big Swole's a lot of fun. I like Big Swole a whole bunch. And, like, there's no other way I can't say what I want to say, because when you're talking about male wrestlers, it sounds a bit different. When you've got, like, the stubborn, tough, I'm in it for the fight, and you refer to them as like a pit bull.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel right referring to a woman as a pit bull, but she has that element to her. And she's just, like, itching, ready to go, like, let me in the ring with this bitch because I want to knock her out type thing. So that, like, you feel her frustration as the opponent that's had to wait for so long, but also the fans that genuinely like her character that have been waiting for so long. And it's a big payoff of this big creative thing where they've gone off-site and they've brought in Rebel and they've done all the, basically her version of the Drew Gulak PowerPoint presentation type thing. They've put a lot into this, and it's been really good. And they've said, put it on the kickoff. That is almost unbelievably stupid. Like the 8-man with the Dark Order, QT Marshall, Dustin, Sky, Ryder, all them. That should be on the kick. That should be on the kickoff. No offense to those 8 guys. That should be on the kickoff. This should be on the show. My opinion.
Agreed.
I don't know how you pick a winner on this though, because it should be Baker.
The heel wins it.
The heel wins it. On the one hand, because we as a crowd have waited for them to come back for so long, but also Swole is, the babyface that's been waiting to get her revenge, waiting to get her hands on this squirrely heel. So storytelling-wise, would dictate that it's her. I'm going with Baker. I think you're absolutely right. The returning wrestler from injury usually does get the win. I think she's going to get the win. But I think if she does get the win, then this isn't over. And then maybe if they get their shit together, the next time around, they're on the main card.
Yeah.
Because if they do this twice, people are going to take legitimate issue with it.
Completely agree.
Now, what is on the card, on the other side of the coin, is Shida versus Thunder Rosa. And I have to stick my joke in here for a second. AEW's women's division is so shit they had to borrow a champion from a whole other company. Anyways, moving on. Comments in the description box down below. No, in all seriousness, like, champion versus champion always sells. I've waited for Hikaru Shida to have a believable, legitimate opponent that I cared about. And Thunder Rosa's debut on Dynamite against Serena Deeb, also making her debut on Dynamite, is unequivocally, without question, in my opinion, the best women's match I have ever seen from AEW.
Yeah.
Because so many of the, especially the title matches, so many of them surrounded around Nyla Rose, and I'm sorry, I still do not give a rat fuck about Nyla Rose. I know what she represents to the company, and that's
Excuse
cool.
me. That's not right.
Excuse you? Can we talk but not talk about the Nyla Rose Vicky Guerrero bikini shoot?
Nope, didn't look at it. Don't want to look at it. I am not looking it up.
I was gonna say hard pass, but more like soft pass. But no. In all seriousness, I know Serena Deeb from WWE, from the Mae Young Classic, and all that sort of thing. Never seen Thunder Rosa in my life before.
Thunder Rosa with the most badass theme music.
Sure. Wasn't really paying attention. I love her aesthetic. I love her presentation. I love the combined American-Mexican flag.
Yes.
Yeah, really shit. I should prepare myself more. The whole half sugar skull thing she's got going on, and just the way, obviously, seeing her in the ring, she knows how to wrestle, and she's good. But, like, almost more important than that is the way she presents herself in the ring. I'm a wrestler, not a women's wrestler, and I think Serena Deeb was the perfect opponent to put her in for somebody like me, who's never seen her before, to get all of that out of her before this Saturday.
Right.
Because now I know that I've got something to look forward to, because I've already seen what Shida can do, and I like Shida as well. I think it's going to be really cool. I don't know what the deal is with NWA? Like, are they even running? Are they even a thing right now?
Wait, what? I'm sorry, I missed what you just said.
I'm not familiar with NWA Power. People have told me it's good. I've never had a chance to watch any of it.
It is very good.
Are they on hold right now because of the corona, or?
They are on most probably an indefinite hold. Like, they're probably not going to be running it anymore at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay. So I don't know whether in that this is where it gets weird with AEW, because you see people on the show that aren't necessarily part of the show, so it's harder to sort of figure out where they're going to go. Wrestling has had a lot of double champions in the past little while, so if they want to put a shocker in there and Thunder Rosa leaves with 2 belts, I wouldn't mind that. I like Shida, but if Shida has to then go on a retribution type thing and get her title back, could be a decent story. In the meantime, they could both feud with a couple of other people in the division. If Shida wins, it's just sort of like, okay, we are where we were yesterday.
I really do. I think this is going to end up turning into, if not match of the night, second to best match of the night.
Oh, for sure.
With Shida winning. However, not. I did this in what's called Ruffin. My show at Ruffin. Not by much. Like, she wins it with a really weird like pinning predicament to where it kind of looks like both of them had their shoulders down.
Oh, so like a pin in question type thing.
Correct. Like,
okay.
Like, she won, but she didn't win.
Okay.
Like, and she doesn't like it either, but she's going to take it because, hey, she won.
Which is not entirely bad. It's like, oh, it's really unfortunate that happened, but it happened and I have a win.
Correct.
I don't know. I think it would be cool because, like, it's not like the Wednesday Night War. Like, they're not at war with NWA. No. But if Thunder Rosa, at the moment, purely because she has that title, you could sort of see her as representing NWA. So if this invading force, if you want to call it that, ends up scooping up the title, it'd be like, was it the Lucha Brothers or the Bucks that had the AAA tag titles and brought them to Dynamite?
Mm-hmm. The Lucha Brothers.
Right. Okay. So to have this person, like, you know, whatever imaginary line you want to draw between AEW and NWA, to have this person come over from the other side and scoop up the belt, and even if it's not real, like, peril, like, storyline-wise, oh my god, our title's in peril, somebody that doesn't even work here has it, and all that kind of thing. I will say, though, the NWA title with the photo in the center is really old school, and I really like it. And that's a lot cooler than the WWE.
I want to say that's the original NWA women's title design.
Okay.
Like, that's what they used to do. Like, and they brought it back whenever whenever Billy Corgan brought back NWA.
Yeah. I know it's not an entirely unique concept. I know, like, old titles used to have that when people held them for, like, years at a time. But it's something that's so old school, to see it in the modern time is a nice little touch. And I wouldn't want to see all of a sudden everything switches and all the titles have photos on them, because then it totally loses its uniqueness. But I do think it's a cool touch. So for her to hold up her brand new title at the end of Saturday, and the title with her fucking face on it, just as a visual, that's cool. And obviously, anytime you have somebody with a painted face, when you get the shot of them at the end of the night and how much the battle has literally changed their face, like, that's like, go back to Legion of Doom matches, and you can tell how badass the match was by how much face paint they have left. It's one of those little, like, unsaid things in wrestling. I'm kind of intrigued with the idea of Thunder Rosa winning, so that's what I'm going to go with. And you're going with Shida, but not by much.
Not by much.
So shine, come a freak like me.